A very good afternoon to Madam VC. I am Nadia binti Mat from PDPP SN10620. I would like to present my coursework presentation for Science Curriculum Studies for Secondary School. So what I'm going to present today is first is about the introduction, secondly is the issues incorporating the 21st century skill based on the science subject teachers, and thirdly is the way to overcome the issues, and lastly is the resources that I use to complete my coursework. Let's take a look about the introduction. As we all know, our science curriculum is based on the National Science Education Philosophy. Together with National Education Philosophy, they encourage the development of students based on the three domains, which are skill, knowledge, and values to provide them with 21st century skills. So what is 21st century skills? 21st century skill is based on the 6C, which are collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, communication, citizenship, and also characteristic. So our Ministry of Education of MOE has organized the science curriculum and make change of it according to the national demand, as well as their aim is to provide our education system based on the international standard globally. So several approaches has come to intention for teachers to develop creativity among people through experience investigation, through inquiry process learning. This is as to master the student to have knowledge in science, scientific skill, thinking skill, and also scientific attitudes and values. Changing the science curriculum from time to time, such as the KBSM curriculum have been changed to KSSM, is the aim is to provide or to prepare the student to have skill in solving problems and also make decisions in life according to the Industrial Revolution 4.0. Meanwhile, in order to fulfill the need of the science curriculum, there are several issues by the science teachers in incorporating the 21st century skills. So this coursework is done to discuss about the issue faced by the science teacher and the way to overcome the issues. So what are the issues occur for the science subject teacher? Basically, in this presentation, I will present the two issues and also the two ways to overcome the issues. Firstly, the first issue is the challenges of using technology resources to provide teaching and also learning PDP. 21st century skill, which is known as PAK21, has led to the use of technological resources to provide effective and also flexible PDP, such as the use of LCD and also ICT. The ICT integration in PDP, especially for the science subject, is relevant because this can make the student to understand more easily, and it also gain the student interest to focus on teacher's lesson, because when the teachers use the LCD to teach, the student tend to have more focus because there is the animation and it is kind of unique and a fun way to have a teaching process. All right. So, but the issue come when the LCD are not provided by the school. So, teacher has a limit to do an interactive and fun teaching environment. The internet access unsatisfactory also have been the issue, and this the lack of computer for students to do some research by themselves also become one of the factors that contribute to the issues. There are also science teachers that still use conventional method and teaching materials that limited to the use of the textbooks, as well as the process learning that still use memorization technique and focus on scientific knowledge only. As we all know, today's learning process must have a three domain, which is the knowledge, not only the knowledge, but also the skill and also the scientific attitudes and values. Furthermore, most experienced teachers are less exposed to the technology because they are in different era. Teachers do not know the latest and appropriate teaching method in achieving the learning objective. For example, in real situation, now in the closure of the school due to the current pandemic of COVID-19 have become one of the most issue among teachers to continue teaching. So lack of experience and skill in producing science education software, such as building and developing site web and produce online teaching material, cause problem to the teachers to conduct learning at home. By this, we can see that there is also a problem when the teachers does not know how to use the WhatsApp, how to use the Google Classroom to deliver their teaching material. This have limit the teaching process when the pandemic of COVID-19 because they do not know how to use the technological resources. So this is the diagram that shows the research study have been done from Jacqui and Han this year. Here we can see that the school infrastructure such as the LCD and also the internet access have been the problem that for the STEM learning and teaching. So how to overcome the issue? As a teacher, we have to be more creative to overcome this issue. Firstly, we can have a peer learning coaching among the science teacher. By this, teacher can do in-house training to other teacher about updated software or applications such as STEMfinity. This STEMfinity is a software that provide teacher what is the strategy or activity that can be used by the science teacher in class to teach the student in more fun and interactive way. Secondly is to give relevant basic training to the teachers by providing the LDP to the teacher about the Google Classroom. As we all know, Google Classroom have many benefits as we can create a quiz on it and also we can take a video and send to our student and it will be more interesting. Thirdly is teacher also can try the PAK 21st teaching and strategy. Not only by use the LCD or ICT, teacher can also use the method such as the project-based learning or problem-solving strategies. These strategies also have been mentioned by the study from Jacqui and Han. Lastly is our PPD and JPN also have to do their work by planning, designing, and also organizing more courses or workshops to add value to teachers' ICT skill. So this diagram shows the project learning based learning on subtopic pressure. Here we can see that besides we use the ICT or the ICD, we can use the hands-on method by developing the skill based on the strategy how student can solve the problem or create a new ideas. So this also one of the PAK 21 teaching and strategies method. So the second issues is the challenges in providing learning that lead to the high level thinking skill which is known as KBAT. Alright, so teacher supplies in providing PDP that implement KBAT is limited when the level of student is not helpful and understandable for student able to receive the PDP. More student motivated the KBAR or which is also known as the lower thinking skill because it is easier to understand because learning is only at the level of knowledge based on the Bloom taxonomy. There is a research that have been done that conclude that teacher also face constraint in terms of completing the learning syllabus because to apply KBAT in PDP it takes a lot of time. Due to this factor, teacher face challenges to implement KBAT in the planned PDP. Finally, learning to encourage students to master the KBAT is limited. For example, in real situation at school, students are aware that KBAT question need higher order thinking skill or easily understand that KBAT is not easy to understand or not easy to answer. So there are obviously different response that teacher can see when the teacher asks question of lower thinking skill and also question of higher thinking skill. For example, in the science topic of stability, when the teacher asks the students to stand up with one leg, they can see the student can see several of their friends fall but the others not. They can give the answer to the teacher that their friend fall down because they are not stable. But if the teacher increase their level of thinking by asking the KBAT question, such as why does they are not stable, they tend to take longer time to answer the question. So here clearly shown that the student KBAT skill is still low because they tend not confident and also um, tend to not answer the question because they're afraid the KBAT question is hard to answer and afraid that their answer is incorrect. So here is the research, the real situation survey in school that been done from previous researcher. Here we can see that what is the response of the teachers when they implement KBAT in their teaching. Um, Such as students are not confident and prefer to remain silent because they're afraid the answer is incorrect. People trust the teacher too much and do not want to argue and think more because because the student tend to in their mindset that the KBAT question is hard to answer, so students just accept the teacher's answer without them to think more. And KBAT is not suitable for all students because high level student only can answer the KBAT but the lower level student not. So question now use a lot of KBAT causing the gap student between the smart and not so smart student. So passive students find it difficult to apply KBAT. Teachers have to spoon feed them because they take a long time to answer the question. So here, what is the way to overcome the issue of the KBAT? So first, teacher can design the interactive activities that allow students to use KBAT thinking skills such as problem solving activities. This way have been proposed by our education ministry also, but such as we can have activity, we can give an instruction of any instruction that provide them to have a KBAT thinking skill and let the student to discover what they have to done and what they have to get from the activities. And secondly is to build and apply KBAT question on handout or exercises. So this will expose students to be more familiar on how KBAT question is tested. So when they have enough practices, so they can apply this technique to the examination as well. So lastly is to create a classroom atmosphere that help the student to use the KBAT. Teacher can use appropriate thinking tools such as the use of computer or internet for the student to search information. For example, when the teacher have a KBAT teaching strategies, we can have the student to search themselves what is the answer by using the internet. All right. So the diagram here shows the KBAT application thinking skill in problem solving based learning. Here is the topic of electricity. What I've done here is to make the student to discover themselves how the electricity is generated by using the charcoal or coconut charcoal and two different metal. So here they can see what is the exactly process that have been undergo into the coal that can generate the electricity. So here is the one of the KBAT applications that is applied. So, for the conclusion, in order to fulfill the national science curriculum philosophy, science teacher must have alternative way to overcome the issue. So teachers must not make this as excuses. They have to be more creative and more ready to have what are the alternative way to overcome the issues. And in facing the 21st century approaches, challenges for students to master KBAT must be overcome in order to stand aligned with the other developed countries in education. Besides facilities such as internet and also digital tools also must be practiced in learning process to ensure learning is successfully delivered. This tool is also important so that the student can know is aware about uh, what is the tool that can be used for their work real situation after they finish the study. And also activities involving PAK 21 skill is also important to ensure the country education system produce quality student in knowledge, skill and also values in science subject particularly. So here is the list of my resources that I use to complete my coursework. So that's all from me. Thank you for your attention, Madam Vitsi. So thank you.